I said, God, you gotta move this mountain. I just don't see it any other way. I'm too weak to make the climb. I need a miracle this time. That's when.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio. In the town of Geraldine, Alabama, you can find us real easily. We are in the middle of nowhere sometimes, I think, but you can easily find us. We're on Highway 75. You can find us on the internet, too. Go to icradio.media, and you can download the apps and just have all kinds of fun listening to the music. Some of it will make you kind of rock and roll, because there's really lively songs in there. And then some of them, if you need to kind of pace yourself, then you can pace yourself with some of the songs too. But we offer a wide variety of music, which is awesome as well. We're going to have another, let me mention our television stations, channel 182 in North Alabama. That's on Charter Communications. You can also find us on Abundant TV, which is worldwide. That's found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. I wanted to mention Roku. It's real easy to find. When you pull up Roku, you're going to see, first of all, you can watch all kinds, and I watch all different movies and stuff like that. I don't watch just my stuff. So you can find all kinds of great things on Roku, and you can find Walmart.com, and you can buy the little stick there. You can get them for $20, and that just depends on what you're looking for. And you can also find Apple TV and Amazon Fire too. And again, this is worldwide, and we're going to make some announcements about Abundant TV. We're going to soon have even more listeners. I can't tell you yet. I'm just dying to. Rob said, Donna, you can't tell anybody yet. So anyway, Rob and I are going to be talking about that next week. So I'm really excited about what's going to happen just all around us. Cathy is such an awesome lady. So we're going to actually have another show, and we're talking about that right now. And it's going to be called The Edge with Donna and Cathy. And Cathy and I used to host another show called The Edge. We just can't seem to get away from the edge. I mean, it follows us around. And I have a lot of folks who are sending me messages, and they're even talking about it we already have a Facebook page. You go ahead and look it up, The Edge with Donna and Cathy. And people are excited about the show coming up, Cathy.
This Zoom is still new to me. Please tell me you can't hear my little poodle barking in the background.
I love dogs and cats, and I love.
Can you hear him?
Babies.
I had to put him up, and he wants out.
They
he is rotten.
They want us. They love us, and I think that we're going to find when we all die and go to heaven, we're going to find that animals were a bigger part of our lives than we thought.
Oh yeah. Well, they were big during the beginning of this pandemic. Everybody went and dogs, cats. Remember, there was like the shelters were happy. Well, now it's not so good, because now those people went back to work, and now they had to take all their dogs back to the shelters. I think it's probably what happened. Which
And let me tell it while we're looking at it right now. Okay, this is a spam call coming in. Don't answer a spam call. You need to go ahead and click stop immediately, because if you ever answer it, they're going to be calling you like every few minutes.
Yeah, me and my husband both have been getting those the past couple of days. And we didn't for a long period of time. What's going on, I wonder, with this again?
It just cycles. It just goes all crazy.
Oh my gosh. It's just in the middle of the night sometimes that you'll see it. You'll look at your phone, it says potential spam. Yeah.
And let me mention one other thing. This has happened in the Sand Mountain area where I live. You live in the big city of Oxford. But this has been happening here, and a lot of my listeners have been telling me about this. They're getting phone calls, and they say they're from the power company.
Really?
They're going to arrest them. And so I've asked to arrest you for what? And they say for not paying the bill. But I know I paid my bill, and this is something else they want you to do. They want you to go to Walmart. I'm not supposed to mention their name, but this is what they're saying. They say go to Walmart and get a gift card and pay it. First of all,
really?
No, the power company, first of all, they're not going to call you like that. So be really careful out there. There are spammers out there who are trying to take your hard-earned money. Don't let it happen. And first of all, the power company is not going to tell you to go to Walmart and get a gift card.
Oh, well, Donna, the other one that's really scary and it's just awful. They're feeding off our elderly. a lot of these robocalls, these spam calls, they're impersonating the Social Security office to try to get their information. Now, it hadn't happened to me personally, but an elderly lady I know, it did happen to her, where she got calls from somebody claiming to be the IRS. Have you got that one?
I've got that one. I've got another one, Kathy. They call me all the time and they tell me they're here to help me with my college debt. And I'll say,
oh, yeah, I get that one too.
And I'll say, look, I'm 63 years old. If I haven't paid it by now, I'm never going to pay it. Bye.
Oh, my. Yeah, that's another one. College debt, the IRS, Social Security. It's crazy. The things they're coming, and all they're trying to do is lure people to give them their Social Security number.
They want to steal your identity and don't let
or money, or money, probably.
Yeah.
But the IRS, they're trying to get you to pay something.
Oh, and Kathy, this is another thing. This happens all the time. There'll be somebody acts like he's from the Air Force or he's from military of some sort, or he works as an agent for the IRS or whatever. And then they want to be friends with you on Facebook. I always hit delete. First of all, there are warning signs. Okay, if somebody wants to be friends with you and you can't see anything about them, or they only have 2 pictures, it's
right. Yes, I get those.
And then this is another thing. If you do accept it immediately, if they send you a message telling you how beautiful you are, get rid of them. Because what they're trying to do, they're trying to find the lonely. And so they think if I can put a spin on the lonely and tell them how pretty they are and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to wind up in their pocket. Look, you're smarter than that. Don't let it happen. Go ahead and delete it. And then you can also block them. Don't put up with that.
I think, what does it say? Approve or delete?
Delete.
Yeah, so you need to hit delete.
Yeah, hit delete.
Yeah, but I get those all. There was a ton of them for a while that was like fake doctors. Yeah. Did you get those? Did you get those? I was getting fake doctors, and it would be this one picture of this guy in like a physician's coat and requesting to be my friend. So I clicked on it. I thought, well, maybe that is somebody I know. So I clicked on, oh no, they're like from Boca Raton or Punta Cana, somewhere out of the United States, and there's only one picture of him.
Oh yeah, come on.
It's a scam.
Now, if it's somebody that maybe they have like 50 friends like you have, you have that in common, I go ahead and do it.
Yeah,
But if there's no common friends, or there's one, or there's 2, I'm not going to do it, because what they're going to do, they want to be friends with you so they can see your friends list. And then what they'll do is click on all of your friends. No, that's not a real person. It's probably a fraud. And then also, if you look, and if they are showing anything about themselves at all, sometimes I do it just for kicks, just to look. And if you see that their likes are all something about the Republic of Africa or something like that, run the other way. Delete them and block them, because you've got that power over those folks. You can do.
Well, I didn't know you could block. I thought you just deleted them.
No, you can block them.
Oh. Well, then that's a good thing.
You need to go ahead and do that. Kathy, on the last show we started, time just flies. I mean, I couldn't believe time just went by so fast. And we were talking about a few things from the garden and how to get husbands to eat good, like besides fries and hamburgers all the time. So we have to kind of guide them to eat the right thing. Don't tell them what it is until after you've made it. Okay. But this is a recipe for kale chips. And you can use the flat kale or you can use curly kale. It doesn't really matter. And it's really easy to do. And the kids love them too, okay? But they're key ingredients to this. So what you want to do, collect them if you have your own, if you buy it from the grocery store. The farmer's market is better than the grocery store. Just wanted to mention that to you. Make sure you wash them really well, and use some paper towels or some good clean cloths to make sure they dried really well too. You don't want them to be wet. You want to get out the cookie sheet, go ahead and preheat that oven to 350 degrees. You want to put about a tablespoon of olive oil in there. And mix
Wow.
that up. Just a tablespoon is all it's going to need. And then with your hands, the best tools you possibly have in the kitchen are your hands. Just make sure they're good and clean. And then just clean them really. I mean, going ahead and make sure that you've got everything
Right.
saturated. And then put some sea salt on there. Don't go crazy with it, but put some sea salt and go ahead and mix that in there as well. You need to get your cookie sheet. Again, you got that oven now. It's heating, okay?
So you're going to bake them.
And bake them.
Yeah.
Now make sure they're not touching each other. They don't get along well.
That's healthy. Baking's better for you.
Yeah. So going ahead and lay them flat. Now, again, you can use curly if you'd like. That curly kale is really good that way too, but flat does a little bit better. So going ahead and lay it out on the cookie sheet. Put it in the oven, turn the heat down. Now you've turned it up to 350 degrees. You want it to be about 200 degrees. Keep them in the oven for about 7 minutes.
Wow.
Out of the oven, put them somewhere, let them cool off really good. And they'll be crispy and they'll be really good. And they're good with your sandwiches. They're good if you just want some kind of oh, it's so good. It's so good for you and it's healthy. You know what?
I was going to say, kale doesn't even have fat in it, does it? Or does it? Does it have fat? It does have some fats. Now, well, those are probably.
No, I thought you said fiber. I misunderstood you. No, it's fiber in it, no fat in it. So kale is good. Now we like kale just in a salad, and just just chop it up really good and put it in a salad, and that's really good. It gets you some fresh maters.
That is good.
All right,
I have a question for you because you're probably because this is the first year I've noticed this with my tomatoes. Okay. So I still have a few little bitty of the little salad tomatoes that grow, the cherry tomatoes, right?
Those are good.
I've seen those. Yes, they're so good. Just wash them and eat them. But my tomato plants, I have noticed I've got some new flowers blooming. I've not seen that before.
That's a good thing. So you've not.
So do they produce this late?
Yeah, I've had tomatoes up until the first frost.
Really? So I don't need to yank those plants out of the ground this year.
No.
Get rid of them.
And another thing you need to do with your tomato plants, and I learned this from a farmer that we have lives right here in Geraldine. This guy's like, and I'm trying to get him on the show and he won't come on. He says he's too shy, but this guy's not shy. Mr. Brown, you're not shy. He watches the show all the time. He just won't come on the show. So, but he gives me tips. And so what he'll do, he said, now you got to trim them. You want a tomato to grow almost like a tree. So what you're doing,
mine are really tall.
That's good. That's good. So you're doing the right thing. But what you want to do is as it's growing the bottom limbs, you want to cut those off. You want those to go away. And then you want it
to cut them off even if they're not discolored.
Cut them off.
Okay.
And what's going to happen is all that growth energy is going to go into the other limbs.
The tall ones.
You have tomatoes. It's going to be almost like a tomato tree by the end of summer. Mine look like trees now.
Wow. Well, that's what's happening. I've not, usually my tomato plants are gone. I've already discarded my soil and moved my tubs out of the way.
Let them go.
Let them not this year.
They'll just keep producing.
Well, I'm going to try that.
And you need to save your seeds, okay? Because this is a thing that I'm concerned with. Now, I'm not one of those that I don't trust government. I'm not like that. I don't wear a tinfoil hat. However, there are some things that are going to just come into play. And that's just the way it is. It's the world that we're in. So we think about food shortages. Well, there are also seed shortages, okay? So you want to make sure you don't get
so tell me, how do I save seeds from tomatoes? What do you do?
Easy.
What do you do?
All you got to do is now you may have to sacrifice a tomato. I don't sacrifice them, but you may have to get all the seeds out of it. Now, Phil likes the seeds in his tomato sandwiches and stuff. I don't. I take the seeds out anyway. So you want to take the seeds out and put them on a paper towel, okay? And let them just sit there for
Are you talking about the center mucky seeds that we eat in the slices?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Take that.
Well, okay, so I have to ask this. The little tomatoes that a worm or a bird nibbled on, can I use those for my seeds? What do you do? Just let them sit on a paper towel and dry the whole tomato, or you cut them out?
You got to cut that out. So you want to take that part off that a bird or whatever, a bug is eating.
Yeah,
because it could be a disease. I mean, it could disease the seeds. So you want to cut that part off and throw that away, and don't put it in where the tomato plants are, by the way. You know, you can save like your regular peels and stuff like that and throw it up right there around the tomatoes. But anything you've had to cut out, throw that away. And then you just go ahead and take those seeds out and try to get as much of that murky stuff out of it as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Put it on a paper towel and then wait about 30 minutes or so. And then what you want to just get you a cup of warm water and then put that in the cup. And you want to try to rinse as much of that murky stuff out of as you can. Now, the good seeds are going to go to the bottom. They're going to stay in there. So what you'll do is you'll take off that top part, which is going to leave the murky stuff and the bad seeds in it. Then you're going to put it on another paper towel, and you can let it sit there until next spring. It doesn't matter, until you're ready to start planting, and you've got seeds. I fell in love with this yellow tomato last year.
So basically, a quick summary. Quick summary. Take your tomato, get the seed, get the muck, that jelly-like stuff that's with the seeds in there, and dry it on a paper towel, right? And just let it stay there?
Well, no, that's step one. Step two, you got to just let it sit there. And it kind of deadens that murky stuff because it's like a gel. You know, it's kind of like a gel. And you don't mix that in with your seeds. So I've let it set for 30 minutes or so. An hour is not going to hurt anything. And then after you let it set, then you want to take as much of that murky part off with your fingers. Use your finger, okay? Not your fingernail, but because you could accidentally cut a seed. So use your finger, this part of your finger, and you just kind of do that on the paper towel, and then put the seeds in a cup, and then let them wash real good. You want to make sure you get all that murky stuff off, and then rinse them really well, put them on a paper towel, and just let them stay until you're ready to plant them. They're going to dry, and they're going to be better than any seed you could buy, and you're not paying anything for it. And my seeds, I have tomatoes that are great grandparents. And when I buy that,
well, I mean, well, you know, some of my tomatoes were better than the others. So if I get another one, another tomato, I'm going to trim the bottom, like you said. Okay. Basically, you're pruning the tomato plant. So I'll do that. And then if I get a tomato on that, does it have to be ripened to salvage the seeds, or can it be green?
Can't be green. It's got to be ripened.
Okay, so if I've got a green tomato that just looks ugly, I could just set it in the window and let it turn red and then use it for my seeds.
Or fry it. You like fried
green tomatoes? Yes, I love fried green tomatoes.
They're really good.
Flour and meal. You can do them both ways.
Put a little egg. By the way, do you have chickens?
No, I don't have any chickens.
Oh, man. Do you ever get chickens? You'll never eat another store-bought egg ever.
Because they're better?
They're much better. They make the best cakes. They're really rich.
Really?
They're really good. Super good. I used to think my grandmother was such a snob about that. She would say, "I only use my own chicken eggs. I don't ever buy them from the grocery store." One time they weren't laying for some reason. It was too hot outside. When it gets really hot weather, if you don't keep them in and keep plenty of water out there, they may not lay for several days. And I've learned that the hard way. So so
I have a question. How many eggs does one chicken lay for you?
Well, it depends on what they eat.
Really?
If you'll get their own eggshells, now we eat eggs every morning, and I love boiled eggs, and it's such a good source of protein. You've got your own chickens, and you got your own eggs. That's even better. And so, I mean, it depends on what they eat. So what I do, I take the shell off, and of course I put it. I've got this bin that I use, and it's like cut up grass when Phil cuts the grass, no newspapers and stuff like that in there, and then old food scraps. Now, it can't be any kind of a meat product, grease, or anything like that. It needs to be vegetables and good. So I save the eggshells, and I just press them as fine as I possibly can, and I feed that to my chickens. There's something about the shells, and they love tomatoes.
The chickens love tomatoes and eggshells.
They love eggshells.
And they digest that? The eggshells? Wow.
Yeah, if you go to Tractor Supply or a hardware store where they sell chicken feed, and you look for a package that says this will help your hens lay better, lay more eggs, look at the ingredients. You're going to see eggshells in there.
Wow, that's amazing. I
That's the
didn't
key
know that.
ingredient that does
I
it.
did not know that. Okay, so I have to ask everybody watching, what's which is better, brown eggs or white eggs?
It's the same thing. My grandmother always swore that brown eggs were the best, but it just really depends on what the chicken ate that day. Because my hens will, like you may see a really brown egg one day and then
Yeah.
a lighter color the other day. They taste the same. I have not seen any.
So there's not a difference since you know a good bit about chickens. I don't really know anything about chickens. Is there a difference in the type hen that lays a brown egg versus a white egg?
There's no difference at
No
all.
difference. Oh, I remember my mother used to take me down, like, you know where Clay County is, Donna.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
There used to be a lot of farms down there when I was a little girl. And she believed in buying fresh eggs, and they were always brown,
Uh-huh.
always brown eggs.
Most of them, it's just because I think they're eating the right food. You're feeding them, that good corn mash and stuff like that. And I'm not
Well,
sure
my
what
doggies
they,
won't know.
I'm not sure what they eat. It's in some chicken houses, it's going to be, something that's produced. But if they just run out and also depends on how free they are to run out in the yard. And
Really?
the grass, the more grass they eat, because I've noticed this, I have darker eggs in the summertime than I do in the wintertime.
And is that because the grass they're eating? Wow.
They
Well, cattle is the same way, is it not? Your cows? My husband was telling me, if you ever buy meat, like split a cow with another couple or a
we do
quarter cow or whatever, which is a good thing to do if you've got a deep freezer.
that. Hmm.
He said, don't buy onion. What does he say? Grass fed cows. Is that right? Because they can taste like onions. The
Yeah,
meat.
if it's got wild onions in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we have 38 acres and we don't have cows. There's no way I have time for cows.
Right.
But I get to see the cows. My cousin Brian actually rents land from me, and his cows are out here on the land. So I get to see the cows.
Oh,
But now he makes sure there's no onions in the grass. And that's a big deal for him too. He says, no, we don't
really?
want onions in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because my husband said it doesn't taste good at all. I guess that's not what we buy at the supermarket,
Mhm.
right? Because it doesn't taste like onions,
Well, you'll notice too, if you buy local, we buy local. And I'm going to I
right?
want you to see this farm. Guy happens to be a pastor. His name is Don Hutton. And he happens to be the pastor of the church we go to, the Cowboy Church. And they have this magnificent farm. And that's where we buy all of our meat. They have their own business. And
Really?
there is nothing better than his meat.
So it's not they're not turned loose into a field with onions then, right? As my husband would say.
He's really careful what goes on it. And he does the
Yeah.
same thing. And what he'll do is he'll sell, because we always buy like half a cow. And then we fill the freezer with his meat. But what he does is it costs the very same thing per pound, and we get half the cow. So there's going to be steaks in it, all kinds of really neat steaks, and then ground
Right.
beef, and it's the best ground beef. Have you ever bought ground beef from a regular grocery store and put it in the freezer? And if you don't hurry up and use it within a couple of 3 months, it has this weird taste to it.
Yeah, I buy
I've thrown
ground
it.
chuck. I buy ground chuck because regular hamburger has got so much fat in it. When you cook it, there's not much meat left. I learned that when my children were very small.
Well, I
Yeah.
like to buy my meat from them. You need to find a local grower, or when you come here, I'll take you out there and let you see what he's got. Um,
Right.
but he'll. I mean, it's first of all, you're gonna have every steak you can think of. There'll be roast. There'll be ground beef, and we eat healthy. I mean, we really do, and I feel good about the beef we eat. And also, the steaks are so tender.
Oh,
But what I do
yeah.
is I pan sear mine though for about 4 or 5 minutes on each side. Then I put them in a browning bag, or I have the oven preheated. And we like ours pretty well done. I don't want a lot of pink. I can eat some pink, but I'd rather not. And
Yeah,
then
my husband likes
in
pink.
the oven, yeah, I want mine well done. And you
Oh,
put it
it's
in the
pink.
oven for about 30 minutes or so, about 350 degrees, and it is so tender. You can actually cut it with a fork.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mhm.
I did let me give you, this is a good recipe, little quick recipe,
Oh, well, I cook.
and it's pretty cost effective. How much time do we have?
Well, I'm about to look. Let's see.
How much time do we have? Because,
About 4.5 minutes.
okay, real quick, real good recipe. Cube steak. You can buy it at the grocery store. Any grocery store has cube steak.
Uh-huh.
Usually about 4 pieces will cost you about between $6 and $8.50, depending on how good the meat looks or which grocery store you buy it in, right? So you're going to take a glass Pyrex dish, you spray it with some Pam or some olive oil cooking spray, okay, so it doesn't stick. Then take some bacon, okay, about 4 or 5 slices. Just line the bottom of the glass Pyrex dish. Put your 4 pieces of cube steak, lay them out, okay. Then cut up 2 to 3 potatoes. Whole potatoes, you wash them, leave the skin on, unless you have a digestive problem, of course, then you have to peel them. But the skins are healthy.
They are. It's the best part of the potato.
They are so healthy. So you take the potatoes, okay, cut them up in like little circles, just slice them, lay it across the meat, a whole onion, cut it up. A sweet onion makes it have a sweeter flavor, which I like better than just a white onion. So I just use yellow onions or sweet onions, but I usually yellow's good enough because they're cheaper a little bit than the Vidalias. So you cut up a sweet onion in little cubes, put it all over it, salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Sprinkle it all over the top. Really good pepper, pepper the potatoes good, pepper the cube steak good. Then take you about 4 or 5 slices of bacon, put it back on top. All this is raw. It's not been cooked. You're going to cook it together. Put your piece of foil over the top, throw it in the oven, 350 for an hour to hour and 20 minutes. You'll know when it's done because if you stick the fork in those potatoes and they're soft, it's done. Yeah. And it is quick, easy, and that meal, basically all you have to do is throw some green beans with it, and you've got a meal. Meat, potatoes. Now, my husband doesn't like the bacon too much because, it's not crispy.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people love crispy bacon, but I love the bacon because it gives it such good flavor. You don't probably have to do it with bacon. I do the bacon because it gives it good flavor. And you can make that dish larger to serve more people, or you could cut those 4 pieces of cube steak, cut them into squares to where it feeds more. You could probably feed 6 people off that one dish.
Another thing you could do too, I do this with leftover steak if we ever have any leftover.
Yeah.
It's real easy to cut. And so I just get a real good knife and just cut it into little strips and toss it in salad.
And yes, to make a steak salad. Oh yeah, my husband loves that now. Yeah, because if he cooks extra steak, what he'll do is, because I don't eat much steak, because like you were saying, it's got to be really tender. So he loves steak though. So he can grill him a steak and then he eats it the next morning with eggs, make steak and eggs off leftover steak. Good. And then you could throw it in a salad for a leftover lunch.
It's super good.
Yes.
Kathy, less than a minute left in this show.
Well, I've enjoyed it, Donna.
I have too.
Can't wait to do some tapes and
I can't wait.
Some whole shows, and we're going to take you all over the place.
We're going to be everywhere.
You're going to be right there with us. You're going to feel like you're out in the farm or in the city or in the mall or in the shops. We're going to have a great time.
We are. And when we come back next show, I'm going to tell you a little secret how Kathy and I almost got in trouble one time with motorcycles. Remember the motorcycle guys that came through?
Was that when we went to the Harley Davidson place and shot an ad or something? I don't even remember. Yeah.
Because Kathy and I, we didn't know if we had any listeners or not. We found out we had a lot of listeners that day.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, we're going to have to call it.
Bye, Donna. Bye, guys. I'll see y'all next time.
We're going to be back in just a few with another. I'll tell you Kathy's secret, how she almost got in trouble.
just don't see it